Speaking of ayahuasca, we watched Mary-Kate and Ashley When in Rome.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Amazonian tree bark drugs.
It's true. We watched it. We watched
we did ayahuasca and we watched When in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, party pupils.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah. They're my pupils today. I'm the teacher.
Welcome to the schoolroom.
Ding, 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 ding. Hey,
Right.
party people. Welcome to another weird little video. Hi, Luke.
How's it going?
It's going okay. How are you?
It's going.
Yeah. Actually, it's really not okay for either of us, let's be honest. I'm always gonna say I'm doing good, and you're gonna say I'm okay, but it's not
Doing
okay.
good. I'm
Doing
alright.
good. No, false. Today, we watched When in Rome, featuring the Olsen twins.
Yes, we did.
Heavily featuring the Olsen twins. We watched it many hours ago. We actually watched it early this morning while we were visiting family in the Seattle area.
Olsen? Is that all?
The third
is that all the
twin.
Olsens? Is that all of it? Wow.
That's right.
And we woke up and we watched it before we got in our car and headed back home to Oregon. So it's not exactly fresh on our minds, and also we are very tired.
Yeah. It was another one. It was another Mary-Kate and Ashley film.
Huh.
It was another one.
Very astute.
I felt like it was a worse version of the London one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this was about fashion, but I feel like they've all sort of been about fashion, but this was very about fashion.
When you put Mary-Kate and Ashley into a movie, what else could it be about but fashion?
This one was heavy. There was some adult romances, which
I love.
that I got into.
Yeah. I actually hadn't quite put it together until this very moment that When in Rome is a lot like Winning London. They actually are a lot alike. It's like
Sort of, yeah.
they were both movies that featured like the twins and like a gaggle of other teenagers who have to like problem solve together and like fight crime. Pretty much the exact same formula as Winning London, but Winning London just had something to it that this movie did not
It was just
have.
better. It was better.
I think honestly it came down to just a couple crucial elements in this movie where it missed the mark. Like the boys missed the mark. It's like so crucial in these movies that like the boys, the like love interests, teenage boys, they really have to strike a chord.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a loss. So if you get a dud actor playing one of the teenage boys, it just is a wash. You know, too bad. Speaking of that, I've actually seen in interviews with the girls way back in the day, because they are executive producers on these films.
Yeah.
They actually have like a huge say in the casting.
Okay.
Like, especially when it comes to the people they're working directly with, like the boys and like their girlfriends or whatever. They basically pick them. They're given like a pool to choose from. So I've always wondered, like, do they just pick the cutest boy? You know?
I don't think so.
Like,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I know the casting director doesn't just pick the cutest boy. Like in this movie, for example, there's like a very Italian boy is one of the main romantic interests.
Yep.
And he just came across as like mildly creepy. Like he kept having to convince the girl that he was like,
He's like, chill out.
Yeah,
you need to chill.
he's like, you need to hop on the Vespa and come with me right
She's
now.
like, we literally have work to do. And he's like, no.
He's like, this is Italy. He's like, there is something wrong with you because you want to work at your job.
Yeah.
You know?
And he couldn't figure out his way around Rome, even though he lived there.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird. He's like, you can spend 100 years on the streets of Rome and you can't figure it out.
Of course, the Italian teenage boy is named Paolo, which Lizzie McGuire movie. Hello! So yeah, number one, the boys in this movie were just kind of duds, which, like I said, is pretty critical. There was the duddy Italian boy, and then there's an American boy who they meet at one point who is, like, again, trying to convince the girl that she's into him, but he's not motivated enough, and he goes in for the kiss, and she's like, I'm good, multiple times.
Yeah.
Very much like in Getting There.
Yeah, it was the exact same plot line.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Except a little bit more understandable how she would
Yeah.
be like, no, dude.
Right.
But yeah, that's twice now that they they're pushing that idea, which I'm not totally against.
No.
It's just weird to see.
It's just weird to see in a movie, like, two characters get paired off, like, as if they're going to end up having a romantic relationship, and then it just ends up being like, no. So, honestly, what else is there even to say about this movie? It was, like, such a low-rent Lizzie McGuire movie. I couldn't help but just make those comparisons the whole time. Because literally, the boy's name is Paolo, same as in Lizzie McGuire movie. They came out like a year apart. And Lizzie McGuire movie is just so, like, just got so much zazz. It's so dynamic.
Yeah.
There's so much, like, good music and, like, good cinematography and, like, real, like, on-location filming. Whereas in this one, there's a lot of, like, cut to stock film of people on the streets of Rome doing whatever they do.
Yeah,
And
playing accordions and
Right.
hanging out at the water fountain.
blowing up balloons, getting caricatures done. And the twins are nowhere to be seen. Like, the cast isn't actually there. It's just stock footage. Like, that's kind of like such a snooze.
Well, this one was put out less than 6 months after the previous movie getting there. So, I mean, you're gonna have duds if you're pumping them out. Which makes me think, was Mary-Kate and Ashley just constantly working their
so.
entire childhood?
I was thinking about that. Like, when did they get their education? You know?
I know, like, on set, obviously.
I mean, obviously on set, but, like, were they just always on set? And, like,
it depends
how
on...
do you even manage that?
Well, and it seems to me like these movies are all shot on location as well. So it's like there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of logistics to all that. It definitely does seem like they are just filming constantly.
Yeah.
What about the Downton movie? Did you guys see the Downton movie?
Oh my gosh, did you guys see the Downton movie?
That's what we should be reviewing. Is Downton much better?
How about I insert a little Downton Abbey review right
Yeah. I got chills when when it first started.
Yeah.
I was like, it's happening. New content from Downton.
The moment you see Highclere Castle,
they really pimped that thing out.
rise in the distance, I like started to well with tears. It was really magnificent. That was an excellent film. If you are at all a Downton Abbey fan,
they've already seen it. If you're a Downton Abbey fan, you've already seen that movie.
I cannot believe, sorry Mom and Dad, I cannot believe my parents went and saw it without me when we had plans to go and see it. They literally couldn't wait 1 week.
Yeah, now I know where you get it from.
I know.
Yeah, talking about the lady who watches everything before me.
I know, I'm sorry. I get it from my mama. But yeah, what a perfect movie.
It was great. It was
so delightful. Beautiful. Like, I was a little bit concerned going into it that it was going to be, like, kind of weird, because it's like, how are they going to turn the show into a movie? But
that's what I thought too, but they made it work.
10 out of 10, absolutely go see it.
Yeah.
This concludes our Downton Abbey review. Thank you.
I love Downton. It's much better than Mary-Kate and Ashley.
So much better.
We should be showing little girls Downton Abbey.
I know.
Not Mary-Kate and Ashley.
I can't believe I was wasting my time on Mary-Kate and Ashley when I was a kid. Like, I was really thinking, like, I remember, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I owned When in Rome on VHS in 2002. And I loved this movie. It was like one of my favorite Mary-Kate and Ashley movies.
Wow.
And I remember, because I remember when we were watching it today, I was sort of like, what did I get out of this? Because it doesn't really seem like my jam. But when they got to the oceanfront property, and they're like taking photos, and the girls are like doing fashion drawings.
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, oh, I think this is what I liked about it.
Honestly, yeah. They did their job. And they had fashion. They had all that stuff. They had some romance. They had that weird, like, anti-romance stuff going on as well.
Because you apparently have to. Adult
isn't that
romance.
a buzzkill?
It's a buzzkill.
Yeah. I kind of get why they put it in, but...
I guess we should say what this movie was about briefly. It's pretty simple. The girls go to Rome for an internship over the summer where they're going to be working for a fashion designer. And it's sort of a getting there type film in the sense that they, like, pretty much immediately get fired from their internship. And it's sort of like, well, what are they going to do now? And then they get rehired. It's just sort of like exhausting. And then they end up being super successful. So there's a guy who works at the design company who is actually stealing some of the designs, and they end up catching him and exposing him. And it's pretty fun, I guess. Yeah, it's a little bit like whatever. And then romantic plot lines sort of pop off, and then the movie's over. It's pretty simple formula.
I always check out kind of when like their problems kind of hit a climax. Like I just always like check out at that point. Like I almost think like the movies don't even need this like weird like overarching
I mean, absolutely. They don't need the conflict.
Like, I get the conflict with the boys. Mm-hmm. But, like, the fact that there's some guy, like, doing criminal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't...
I think it's supposed to harken back to a time when the girls were younger, when they would be like, we're, like, spies. We're detectives. Like, they were very, like, into that sort of thing. So I think it sort of, like, ties back into that. Like, we can, like, problem solve. Because, you know?
I almost feel like that's the difference between this movie and the Lizzie McGuire one. Mm-hmm. So the Lizzie McGuire one, it was one issue with the boy, pretty much.
Right. It's like Lizzie just like living her life, and she like runs into the boy, and she gets like sucked into his, you know.
Yeah, and it's all involved. Like there's one thing, but it's like these movies. It's like there's boy stuff, and then like stuff that I don't care about.
It just doesn't, like, flow.
I can't even pay attention to it. Like,
right.
It's like the Fun in the Sun movie, or whatever.
Holiday
in the Sun. Like, I'm not even sure what happened.
Right,
and I liked that movie.
Holiday in the Sun, we definitely checked out right as soon as the conflict was peaking. What else do we have to say about this movie? Oh, we should probably rate it. Your gut call.
I think this is like a 5.5.
Okay.
I think it's a 5.5.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's a 5.5. That makes sense to me.
That is so disappointing, honestly.
You agree with me, right?
I do. Yeah, because I was thinking, the closest thing to that we have on here is How the West Was Fun. And I agree that it's better than How the West Was Fun, but only slightly. And then next is Switching Goals. And honestly, Switching Goals is better.
Yeah.
Switching Goals was a lot more fun, and they're just, like, young. And it was a funnier idea for a movie. Like, I feel like they never play on their twinness anymore.
Okay. Coming into this whole thing, I thought they would play on the twin thing quite often, and they never do.
They never, ever do.
Like, rarely. I think Switching Goals, they did it, and It Takes Two.
Right.
They did it then. I think those are the only times that they were like, oh, they look the same. And they look shocking. Exactly the same. I will not be able to tell them apart. I won't. It would already happen by now.
Wow, we're really coming down to the wire. Only two movies left.
We are 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is done. Our lives
we'll
have been changed. No, we are done with Mary Kay and Ashley at New York Minute. Because that is your 50th episode.
Yeah, but then we're going to have a Halloween special, and we're going to watch To Grandmother's House.
No!
Or not To Grandmother's House. Double Toil and Trouble.
No. No. Big fat boop. Nope. Maybe next Halloween.
We'll see about
next Halloween.
That. We'll see.
It's time to move on. Next Halloween, we could harken back to a year prior. Maybe Christmas, we'll watch the Christmas one. But we are done at New York Minute. We're gonna have a party, man. I'm gonna throw down money for New York Minute.
Yeah, we are gonna have a major celebration for New York Minute. This is a big. We're gonna live
stream. We're gonna live stream it. There's gonna be a countdown starting that week. It's like
oh my gosh, and you guys could all watch it with us too. We'll do it on like a Friday. Comment down below if you'll watch it with us.
Yeah.
Thursday the 10th. Mark your calendars. We're gonna live stream us watching New York Minute. So, next week, we're going to be watching The Challenge. We're both excited about it. It's going to be, who knows? I've never seen it. But it's supposed to be, like, Survivor-y.
Yep.
So it'll probably end up being very getting there.
I hope so. I'm excited for it. We're hoping Jeff Probst will make an appearance.
Highly doubt it, but
That would be cool. I'm excited.
I would literally vote you off the island so fast.
Why? No, I'm that guy. I'm that guy who hides in the background, who ends up, winning the whole damn thing. Because I can kind of pull my weight, but I'm not a threat. That's always, and I'm a good guy. At the end, they'd be like, Luke, you didn't backstab me. It'd be,
Great. That's so powerful.
I actually feel like I'd come in third place. There'd be 3 of us, and then the 2 assholes would vote me off.
I guess you're right. You would not get voted off.
No.
But I would always put your name in.
That's funny. He's reading all the votes. He's like, Luke.
And everybody's like, And the handwriting, you're like, wait a second.
Sweet hates me.
I'm like trying so hard to turn people against you, but everybody's like,
I don't know, he does some of the fishing. He collects some rocks for the garden or whatever we got going on, He's good. He splits some bamboo and makes cool little tarps out of it.
You'd be really good on Survivor, babe.
Yeah, I would make it decently far. 3rd place.
Nice.
Yeah.
The tribe has spoken, and this video's over.
Yeah. Watch Downton Abbey.
Yeah. Watch the Downton Abbey movie. Let us know what you think of it. Join us next week when we watch the challenge. It's going to be, I don't know, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come back on Wednesday for another weird little video featuring only yours truly. Luke will not be around. And as always, I love you and I would do anything for you. I think Luke has grown to also love you. I'm not gonna make any promises on his behalf as to what he would do for you all, but
Okay.
is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing if you do. If you don't, you should. And we'll see you next time with another weird little video.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella!
Ciao.